Hi everyone, welcome back to another vlog. So this week I wanted to do something a little bit different. I've been wanting to kind of implement these types of videos where I do kind of like a monthly reading wrap up and just kind of talk briefly about the books that I got through within that month frame. I feel like in the majority of my videos I'm constantly talking about like my thoughts as I'm reading the book, but I figured it would be a nice little thing to just kind of have a sit down yap sesh and just kind of compile them all and like my thoughts together in one place and just kind of give like a little simple review of them. So yeah, I wanted to see if you guys were interested in that kind of content. I would love to implement them more if that's your kind of thing, but I just love talking about books and talking in general. If you're new to my channel, I yap quite a lot and unapologetically too, although I do say sorry quite a lot, but internally I'm just like, what are you gonna do? But I'm very excited about implementing these types of videos more, like at the end of the month or like the beginning of the following month. But yes, before we get started though, I really need some caffeine in my system. I wanna go ahead and just make a quick little coffee and then we can get started on all of the book talk. So let's go ahead and head to the kitchen and we can make ourselves a little coffee to start the vlog. Okay, we are back. I've got my coffee in my cute little mug here. I don't think I've poured myself enough, so I'm just gonna pour a little bit more. But I am so excited to yap about books. I have two physically in my book collection because I bought these on my own, but all the other ones were either on my Kindle or I had rented out from the library. But for the ones that I don't have in my physical collection, I'll go ahead and just kind of insert a photo right here for you guys to see the book cover. From time to time, I'm also gonna grab my phone because I can't remember off the top of my head with some of these what I rated it, just so that I can refer back to the rating that I give it. First off, I want to go ahead and jump right into the two that I do have. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the first one, which is this one. It's called Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I really love this book so much. It was so heartbreaking. I think it was about like a year and a half ago. I did watch the series on Hulu because it has Daisy Edgar Jones in it and I love her so much. I hadn't realized at the time though that it was a book, or else I would have wanted to read it first before jumping into the series. But now that I've gone through the book, I can say that the series truly does follow the book very closely, which I do enjoy, but it looks like this one, I rated it a 5-star. I couldn't imagine giving this anything less than that, to be honest. It basically follows the main character, Kaya, who has just had such a difficult upbringing. She never went to public school. She got teased a lot. She was kind of like this very isolated child. She came from an abusive home. Her dad was an alcoholic, and he often abused the kids, including her and then their mother as well. So it's so heartbreaking. Definitely trigger warnings in this book. It does deal with abuse quite a lot and throughout the entire story. Honestly, it's a very heavy read. And then it also briefly does mention SA. So if you haven't read this book, I would definitely just say be mindful of that going into it. It is going to deal with a lot of heavy topics and basically just navigating the world in her own way the best that she can. It's been out for quite some time, so I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that have already read it. But if you haven't, I definitely recommend you picking up this book. It is just so worth the read in my opinion. Okay, the next book that I want to share about, I feel not everybody will agree with me on, but I don't know, I've definitely been seeing a lot of like mixed reviews, and then a friend of mine also read it and recently asked me if I liked it, and I had kept like going back and forth on like how I really felt about this book. But that book is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This is definitely not my favorite Emily Henry book, to be honest. That I probably rated it a little bit higher than it deserves. I think it felt very different from the usual books that she normally writes. But my biggest gripe with this book, I want to say within like the first chapter or two, like very early on within starting this book, I felt that it had way too many similarities to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If you don't know, Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of my favorite authors. I eat her books up so much. I'm constantly just devouring her stories. I don't think I've given any of her books anything less than like a 4-star rating. But if you're familiar with the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I think you would agree. And if you've read this book as well, so that you can know the comparison between them, both books basically take place just with this celebrity or just this person that has just been in the spotlight for many years and has just kind of like either retired or just taken themselves out of the spotlight and no longer have like that kind of lifestyle. They both are so similar in the sense that the entire book is basically just like a sit-down interview, basically sitting down with them, and she's choosing to tell them her story, like her history, the people that she's known along the way, history about her family, like basically just like giving them the 411 on everything about her life. And I just felt that immediately upon starting this book, like there were just too many similarities to me. I felt like deja vu, like the entire time I was reading this book. I felt like I also just didn't really care for the characters too much, to be honest. Like most of the time I read an Emily Henry book and I am just underlining so many things as I'm going through the book. I'm relating with these characters. It just hit such a spot in my heart, and I just don't think that this one did that for me at all. I just think that it was a little too similar to just like the whole plot of the story and just it taking place in like an interview type of setting. Like, I don't know, that's just my opinion, but please let me know if you guys agree or if there's anybody out there that had these similar thoughts. I'm really curious to know if there's anybody else who shares those same thoughts about this book. It just didn't captivate me the same way that Emily Henry usually does. Bummer. I rated it a 4. I don't feel like that is true to what I would rate it now. I'd probably give it anywhere between a 3 or 3.5, to be honest. Like, I don't really know. Obviously, we'll still be eating up any Emily Henry book that comes out in the future, because how can we not? But those are just my thoughts on it. Okay, so now we're gonna move into the books that I don't physically own. So the next book on my list is called Definitely Better Now by Ava Robinson. I'm gonna put a picture right here. But this book was really enjoyable to me. I pulled it up on my Goodreads and I gave it a 4-star rating. This book was the very first one that this author had done. I felt like it was a very strong debut for her. It basically follows the main character. She is a recovering alcoholic. The book starts off with basically her just celebrating her 1 year of sobriety. So the whole book is basically just her kind of going through life after the 1 year mark of her sobriety and just letting you in on her life and the relationships that she's had, the relationships that she's ruined because of her addiction problems in the past. And the whole book basically just follows just her life and how she's had to navigate like through those struggles and how she continuously just tries to stay on a good path. So it's definitely a very good read. I love stories like these so much. I just think they're so personal. I've talked about this book in other vlogs, and I just mentioned briefly how I just love stories like this that just kind of let you in on someone's world, on the healing process like that comes after an addiction or any kind of struggle in life, honestly, any hardship that people go through. I just feel like it's so important to show grace to people who go through addictions and hardships in their lives. Like, we never know what other people are going through, you know, on the other side, and I just think that books like these just kind of put that into perspective. And for me, reading this book, I just really appreciated like that POV from somebody who's struggling and like very much in that issue. And yeah, it was just a very insightful read in my opinion. I gave it a 4-star. It's a very, very good read. Definitely recommend that one if you're looking for something like a little deep, but also just kind of has like that good humor in it. Overall, it's just a really enjoyable read. If you're into those types of stories, I definitely recommend it. The next book on my list is My Next Breath. I read a memoir by Jeremy Renner, and if you guys don't know who he is a Marvel character. LOL. He's an actor. If you know, you know. But he's from the Marvel universe, and I just really love every character from the Marvel universe. I am that girl who is low-key a nerd and just loves anything that has to do with it. But I believe it was like over a year ago, he had just the most terrible accident. It was just New Year's Day. He was out in like a vacation home with his family. He had planned like this whole thing with his family that they were gonna go snowboarding. So he went outside with his nephew, I believe, and he got on this big like snowcat, just kind of shovels snow out of the way. And they are so massive and so heavy. So basically he ends up getting run over by this huge snowcat. It it is just, I can't imagine like the fear, the pain that goes through someone's mind having to go through something like this. And he basically wrote a memoir just recounting the events that led up to that, and just like the day and the recovery process that he had to endure for like the next year or so. He has since then made a recovery, and it's just amazing. He's literally a walking miracle, and this book just really is incredibly detailed. Trigger warning galore on this one, because I definitely went into it knowing that he was just going to unpack everything that happened within this time, and I didn't realize that it was going to be as descriptive and as detailed as it was. So that is something that I would definitely say, like, go in with caution if you do pick up this book. This book hits so close to home, to be honest. I have somebody in my life who went through a traumatic experience, and the aftermath of that, with the recovery process, was just so difficult to endure. So reading a book like this, it just kind of almost made me relive certain moments. So if you have a situation similar to me, I would definitely just proceed with caution when you pick up this book. It is not an easy one to get through by any means, but I think that his story was so powerful. I think that the level of strength and just vulnerability it takes to just have to relive that over and talk about one of the hardest moments of your life just shows such an incredible strength in him, and I just really admire that about him. But I gave this a 4-star. It was just absolutely incredible. I really loved it so much. But yeah, very traumatizing reading it, not gonna lie. If you love yourself a little memoir moment, just keep in mind that it is pretty heavy and very detailed. So yeah, I really enjoyed it though. Okay, we are down to the last 3 books. On this list, I think I had a total of 7. I don't know if I mentioned that in the beginning, but I am also trying not to yap as much as I could be right now. But at the same time, we gotta yap a little bit, you know what I mean? But the next one on the list that I read is Passion Project by London Sperry. I'm gonna put a picture right here. I feel like I've talked about this book so many times in previous vlogs, but I just have to give it such a big hype because I loved everything about this book. Easy 5-star read. I know that off the top of my head. I don't even have to look because I just know. I think about this book still, even though it's been weeks or even a month since I finished it. I received this book as an ARC. I was just so stoked about reading it. I had seen it floating around so many times, and I just read the description for it and I just wanted to eat it up so badly. First thing I'm gonna say is we love Henry. And if you know, you know. If you read this book, it came out recently. It is just so good, and we love Henry. We protect Henry at all costs. He is honestly chef's kiss. When it comes to just the perfect book boyfriend that you would think of, I think of Henry. Henry is that for me. This was also the author's first novel that she had ever written, so I was honestly surprised. I felt like I was reading an Abby Jimenez story. After finishing this book, I couldn't believe that this was the author's first story, and if her future ones are anything like this one was, she might become a new favorite, to be honest. It basically follows the main characters, Henry and Bennett. Bennett is basically living a life where she's just kind of very secluded. She's in a depressive state of mind right now where she doesn't really like to go out with friends. She likes her time alone. She kind of just barricades herself in her room, and she just, she's rotting away, as we tend to do at times, which is totally fine. But she's basically just had no motivation in life. The main character, Bennett, is also grieving somebody in her life that she had recently lost. So navigating life for her, after this person has passed, has ultimately led her into the hole that she's in currently. And she's just dealing with a lot of grief and a lot of regret around certain subjects. She meets Henry, who she ends up becoming friends with. His role in her life basically becomes just someone who wants to get her out of her shell. They meet once every week. I think it's every Saturday, and they'll just kind of try something different, whether it's a class or they'll go visit a place in New York. He's trying to help her find her passion in life again, and just trying different things to see what sparks her interest, what ignites that motivation back in her life. There's just so much that happens within each chapter, and the tension and everything, and it's just the most perfect book in my opinion, the most perfect romance book I love it so much. I honestly could see myself rereading this like pretty soon because it's just that good. But I just love their dynamic so much. I love the relationship between them. The entire time I was reading the book, like I didn't know if I wanted to laugh, I didn't know if I wanted to cry. But yes, I love this book so much. Easy 5-star. I just can't imagine somebody reading this and not loving it. But yes, please do yourself a favor and read this book. It's so, so good. Okay, the next one on the list is called My Murder by Katie Williams. I had this book on my TBR for quite some time and it's been out for a while, but I saw it at my local library and I just decided to check it out. I honestly don't know how I feel about this book though. I will say, like, I went into this book not reading the synopsis. I didn't know what it was about at all, but it definitely ended up taking a turn that I didn't expect. I didn't know what kind of story I was just like stumbling into, but it just ended up being completely different from what I thought. In short, there's these women who basically get stalked, they get murdered, and then they are cloned. I honestly did not expect that kind of plot like in this book. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest, but it wasn't that. I don't know, I just feel like I didn't care for it as much as I was hoping to. Even upon learning like what it was about and what the plot was, I just couldn't find myself like that invested in it. I don't have a lot of thoughts on this book, to be honest, just because it does have like such a low rating. It just didn't stick with me very much. On to the next. Now we've reached the last book on the list. So the last book on my list I adored and I gave it a 5-star rating as well. It's called The House of My Mother by Shari Franke. I want to say it's Sherry or Shari. I feel like the majority of people know who she is at this point. I've seen documentaries of this. I just kind of kept up with that story and it's just really, really heavy. So I feel like the majority of people know the story, but Ruby Franke's daughter basically wrote this book and just kind of taken us through the reality of the situation, what she was seeing from her POV, what she went through. And it's just such a powerful read. I just feel for her and her siblings so, so much, having to endure this at the hands of your own mother. I just cannot imagine that, to be honest. It's such a heartbreaking story. I think the thing that truly made this a 5-star read for me though, above any other reason, is her style of writing, to be honest. I think that she is such a gifted writer. As I was reading this, like, she was pulling emotions out of me, she was piecing words together and just making you truly feel the pain and the anguish that she was going through. And I just think that she just has such a way with her words and really grasping your attention as you're reading each chapter and just having that ability to just pull the reader in to that extent. I was sat through this whole book. I think this book is truly worth the read. I think that it takes a level of strength to be able to write something like this, and I'm sure that it cannot be easy having to relive everything that's happened to them as a whole. It is just such a powerful read in my opinion. I definitely recommend this one so, so much. But that is all the books. I had somewhat of a slow reading season in the last like month or two, and it's since then picked up so much, but I'm so, so excited to have crossed more books off my list. Apart from the yapping of all the books that I read, I also got a very exciting package, and I thought that I would end the video here by showing you guys what I got. Very briefly, because I'm not going to talk your ear off about him, but if you're new to my channel, my ultimate favorite author of all time is Stephen King, and he has been since I was like 9 or 10 years old. I have talked about it before in like vlogs like a year back, but I was that little girl that basically would sneak over into the adult section just to read Stephen King books, and I would just kind of be like in a little corner and just kind of like soaking in all his books. I must have been a demented child, to be honest. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, because I read some of his like most horrific stories at the age of like 10 years old and I ate them up. I don't know what that says about me, but he has remained my favorite author for so many reasons, but he's also like very nostalgic to me. And truly guys, like my biggest flex, and probably like my only flex to be honest, is the fact that I get to work so closely with his publisher Scribner/Simon & Schuster. I'm honestly so grateful for that opportunity. If little me could see myself today, she'd be so stoked for me, and honestly I'm so stoked for her as well. But I received the most amazing package recently. I was gifted a Stephen King surprise box because this year is the year of Stephen King, to be honest. There's quite a few stories that he's done in like short stories that have since then been adapted into like a visual format in way of like a show or a movie. So because there's so many exciting things happening for Stephen King, I was gifted this Stephen King surprise box because they know that I love him so much as well. So yeah, I gave them the whole history of like me at the library as a kid, and they sent me this box, and I literally wanted to cry, but I wanted to share it with you guys because I'm just like so excited about it, and I haven't talked about it. It's been like a couple weeks since I got it. I already took everything out of the box, but I wanted to show you guys what it looked like. So if you didn't know, he recently came out with a book literally like the day before my birthday called Never Flinch. It's his newest release. It's also part of his Holly Gibney series, which I'm so excited about, but I wanted to go buy this book, and I ended up having it sent to me by Scribner, which I'm so stoked about, but we have it in our personal collection, which I'm so stoked about. But here she is in all her glory. I love me a good thick Stephen King read, to be honest. Like, I will never complain, but I am just so stoked to have this in my hands and in my personal collection. But apart from that, I also got sent this book as well. It's The Life of Chuck by Stephen King. The Life of Chuck is actually a short story that's featured in one of his other books. He has so many books that are like short story books, but this book is basically his short story that is being made into a film with Tom Hiddleston in it, and honestly, slay. But that is him on the cover, which is so exciting. I love him so much. Again, Marvel, if you know, you know. Loki. I'm so excited that I just get to have this book like in this format, but I am so stoked. So they sent me both of these books. They also sent me these little cards, which I love so much. They sent me 6 of them, but I have one on my Kindle currently. It's of like all his classics, which are all so amazing, but I put one on my Kindle recently. This one is his Misery one. I just love this cover so much, and I had to put it on here. I'm missing some stickers like on this other side. Sorry, I don't mean to flick you guys off. I'm missing some stickers on the side, but I put this Misery one right there because it's one of my favorites. They also sent me Firestarter, and then I also have Cujo, Pet Cemetery, which is also another amazing one. And then the last one is Christine. On the back, they have like just an iconic quote from the book. I'm the type of person that doesn't buy like normal bookmarks. I like to use random things like little cards like these, or just like a ticket stub or like a postcard or something like that. So these are definitely going to be utilized in like all my books that I'm going to be reading in the future. And then the last thing that they sent me was this really cute lanyard. I haven't read his new book, Never Flinch, yet, so I love the fact that this says Juror 1, and it's just like in reference to the book. But yeah, I just want to share that with you guys because I feel like I talk about Stephen King pretty often on my channel, and I just wanted to share what I received in the mail. With all that yapping being said, I am so sorry. If you've made it up until this point, I am so thankful for you because it cannot be easy having to hear me yap so much. But again, let me know if you guys like these types of videos. I really enjoyed filming this. It gives me a chance to just kind of like talk to you guys. I feel like I'm just talking to my besties on the other side of the screen. So it's just really nice to kind of just have like a sit down conversation. But please let me know if this type of video like piques your interest, whether or not I should continue doing them like once a month. I honestly don't mind at all. They're really fun to film. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the vlog here. But yes, let me know down below what you guys are currently reading, what you're loving, what you're hating. I would love to yap about it. But yes, thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. I hope that you consider subscribing if you're not already, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!